One of my favorite things about Classic Honda of Midland is this guy, Joe Fee. He is a wealth of knowledge. Anything you could ever want to know or probably not know, he knows it. So the other day we talked about negative equity, big words, but you will hear that if you ever plan on trading in your car. That too can kind of be an interesting process. How on earth do you come up with that number? I come in with my car, I want to trade it in. What's next?
Well, you have one or two different ways you can go here. You can go kind of the traditional way, which is not what we do, of course, but you can go the traditional way, and you just have some guy go out there and he'll take a look around it and he'll come with the number out of his head. Who knows if that number's right or not?
Right.
Nobody knows. We actually, here at the Honda store, we do it a little differently. We have a software program. We look through 5 different books. We look through, and I say books, they're actually online, so I guess they're not books anymore. They're online programs. Sure. And then we also look at all the auctions that are going on. We look if we're going to retail the car, if we're going to wholesale the car, how that car is going to stay with us, and then we put a number on it according to all that information. And so once we compile all that information, that's where we come up with that number. We just don't think it on top of our head. We actually have a method to get to that number.
Very interesting. I know, some people, they can go to, Kelley Blue Book and they price out their vehicle. They come in with a number. Not that easy.
No. Your Kelley Blue Books, your NADAs, your Edmunds is what used to be out there. Those are great books, and they're good for finding out what a vehicle money can be loaned on that vehicle. But actually what that vehicle's worth, to put it kind of in kind of shorten it up, it's what is that car going to be worth to somebody who wants to pay for it? Because you can have something that's saying that the car's worth as much money as you want, but if nobody's willing to pay for that, then it's not really worth it. Just like any other thing, be the best hamburger out there. If nobody wants to pay $20 for a hamburger, the hamburger ain't worth $20. So we try to break it down when a customer does come in with that information. We don't want them to feel like they've done all their research in vain, because them numbers do have some validity to them. But then we show you where we came up with our number, rather than just having a guy come out and tell you, well, that's where we came up with the number. We actually bring out you paperwork that says, this is where we came with the number. This program says this program says it's going through the auction at this, it's going through the auction at that. That way you have a little bit more knowledge about how that number came up with, right, rather than just out of somebody's head.
Right, it's not something you just picked, out of thin air. There is a method behind it. And another really neat tool, of course, on the website, classichondaofmidland.com, you have it, Value My Trade-In. How does that work?
It's actually a very easy program, and a lot of dealers have a similar program out there, once again, because we try to simplify everything, so that way we're very transparent. It's going to ask you just 2 or 3 very, very common questions. The VIN number of your car, what it is, make, model. That's what they're going to ask you. It don't even ask you the condition of your car. So a lot of people ask, well, why don't it ask me that? Because the way you value, the way you're going to say your car's condition is, and the way somebody else says might be different. So there's no one out there that can say, well, this is how we're going to say it is. So once again, it'll give you a good range, because it'll give you a range. So if your vehicle is conditioned on the bad side of that, then your range is going to be on the smaller side. If it's better, then it's going to be on the higher side. But it gives you a range. That way, at least you can sit in the comfort of your own home and go, okay, this is where I'm at. I know I owe this much. I know my vehicle's worth this much on a range. Where am I at? And then a lot of people just come in here and they bring all that paperwork to me and they go, now you get to explain it to me. And we don't mind, because that's our job. We want customers to have as much information as they can. We're not afraid of facts. You bring us paperwork, you bring us stuff, man, we'll sit down with you all day long and look at it. That's what we do. That's how we're a little different from everybody else. We want you to do your research. We want you to be knowledgeable, because the process is a lot easier if you are.
Absolutely. Well, something to keep in mind is doing your research at home. Absolutely. But maybe don't just settle on one number and think that it has to be that. Right. It's not that simple, and y'all are here to explain that process. So if somebody is looking to trade in, you give them that number. Right. Then what's next? Do they act like that would be their down payment for whatever the value is?
If their car is worth more than what their payoff is, yes. That equity, not negative equity, but that equity is used for a down payment on their new car. On the other side of that, if they owe more on it than what it's worth, then that's the negative equity, which is what we covered last week. So yes, if you have equity, by all means, you can use that as a down payment, or a lot of customers don't know this. you can get that back to you. We could just write you a check for that equity, and you don't have to use it for your down payment. You can just put it in your pocket. Now, men, we won't tell your wives that you did that, so it's okay. But that's mama don't know money. But no, you can use that equity. You can get that because that's your money. Sure. I can't tell you how to spend your money. So if you want it back, we'll give it back to you.
That's so great. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to come up here, come talk to Joe or anybody on the Classic Honda team, and they will walk you through that process every step of the way. And even before you get here, you can learn yourself a few things at classichondaofmidland.com. Joe, thank you so much.
Not a problem.